For the first time in 7 months, we can say it's game week. Well, sort of. It's preseason. More importantly, we are that much closer to knowing who the starting quarterback will be for your New Orleans Saints in 2025. Maybe there are signs that already we're starting to see who that person might be. We'll discuss that and talk about an offensive lineman who is already out for the season. And the over-under win odds have changed again. What do the odds makers think? Have they improved their thinking about the Saints, or do they think that maybe the Saints will be the team drafting first in the 2026 draft? What do you think? What does Gabe think? It's Mano Monday. It's time to find out. The Dattitude podcast. It starts now.
If you're looking for the latest scoop and in-depth interviews on the Saints, the NFL, the Pelicans, LSU, along with the best bets of the week, then lucky you. Along with high-powered, in-the-know guests who cover our teams, Jim Derry brings plenty of Dattitude. And he'll always tell you the way it is, or at least the way he thinks it is.
Where you at, Dattitude family? How was your weekend? You glad to be back? I know you missed that 115-degree heat index a little bit. I sobbed a little. You know, I walked outside yesterday, as a matter of fact. It was 89 degrees in the middle of the day. I'm like, wow. Anyway, is it gone for good? Probably wishful thinking, but usually, I don't know. It looks like the forecast for the next week and a half is pretty much like it is today. I can take 90, 91. It's when it gets to 94, 95 with that humidity. And then we got Dexter and the Atlantic. That's not going to affect anyone. One of those storms they just named because they want to make sure their predictions are right. We like to make our predictions right. You know what's real? Dattitude is real. Dattitude episode number 398, presented by Evangeline Securities for a Monday, August the 4th, 2025. That's real. And so is episode number 400 coming up on Friday. That's right. It seems like we just had 300, doesn't it? It's going to be fun. Jim Henderson will be on. Pigs have flown. Jim Henderson will be here on Friday. Looking forward to it. I don't know who's going to be on 399 on Wednesday. Haven't figured that out. But we're going to have some fun. Today, we're going to have some fun. We're going to talk about the lead topic today. Is kind of the one similar to the one we had last Monday. However, on this Mano Monday, I have seen some, I like to read through the tea leaves. I've seen some signs that I think that point towards possibly Tyler Shough taking the lead. Now, not if you read some of my colleagues in the media. I don't, even my friends here at the Times-Picayune, I don't even know if they believe. Anyway, I'm going to tell you what I saw, what I read. And I like to read into things. Really, is there any way to 100%? No, of course not. But we're going to talk about that this morning. I want y'all to talk about it with me. I want to know what you think. If you're new to the Dat Family, welcome. You may or may not like what I have to say today. We'll see. But we welcome your comments in. I am your host, Jim Derry, 35 years in the New Orleans sports media scene. We thank you for joining us today and every day, whether today is your first episode or whether you're your 398th or somewhere in between. Thank you for being here. You know what is most special about this show? If you don't know this already, you could be a part of today's episode and every episode by typing in your comments. We interact, especially on Monday. Again, Mano Monday. What does that mean? It means I talk to you, you talk to me. We show comments on the screen throughout the day. Gabe Henderson will be on in a little bit. We'll have his take on what we're talking about today. He'll chime in as a neutral observer. I mean, look, if you wear black, if you have as much black and gold in your closet as anything else, it's hard to be a neutral observer, right? So we have one today. Although Gabe, who knows? Maybe at the end of the season, he'll have to wear black and gold. We'll see. That's a whole different story. If you don't know what we're talking about, we'll tell you later. So just type in your comment. And if you're watching after the fact, or if you're listening on any of the major podcast platforms, you can get in touch with me on X at Jim Derry Jr. or via email, jderry@theadvocate.com. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Please do so. Give us a little like, Subscribe to the YouTube page. We are doing NFL previews right now. We just started them this morning. We started with the Buffalo Bills. We're doing the AFC East in the morning this week, the NFC East in the afternoon. So we got the Dallas Cowboys coming out this afternoon, doing it by alphabetical order. I will tell you what is new with each team, why I either like the over or the under, whatever their win total is. We're going to get in win totals today because the Saints, if you look at what's coming up today, besides talking about Tyler Shough and Spencer Rattler and Jake Haener, of course, that is the lead to the show today. We're also going to be talking about the odds. The odds have changed on the over-under win total. Not very good. Let's just say that the odds makers are having less and less faith in your New Orleans Saints. We'll talk about that. Also, Nick Saldiveri. Guard Nick Saldiveri, who has had his issues ever since he got here. He is out for the season. We're going to talk about that. What does it mean for the Saints? Does that cut into their depth? Do we think that is something we should worry about? They signed Shane Lemieux. You remember him. He's back with the Saints. Is it a big deal? We'll talk about that in a little bit. Also, looking, we talked about it being game week. Looking ahead to California. Saints are going out to California this week to practice, and they will play I almost said San Diego Chargers. The San Diego Superchargers. No, they're the Los Angeles Chargers. Still can't get used to that. Los Angeles Chargers, they will play them on Sunday, August the 10th. We'll get into all of that coming up. But so that's what's on the show today. Just a couple little personal notes. Last show before school starts. That's right. This is the last time this is the last time I'll have to go in there and, I guess there'll be days when they're off at school. But anyway, the last time regularly I will have to go in there and tell them, make sure you're quiet before we start the show. They've been pretty good this summer. I don't know. I think one of them is ready to go back to school. The other one, not so much. I'm definitely ready for them to go back to school. That is on Wednesday. Over the weekend, my daughter Ellen, I didn't put any pictures up because most of her pictures were with her friends. She had a little group party. Her and two of her friends are all celebrating birthdays around the same week. Had a big party. She's turning 14 on Sunday. Yes, the same day as the Saints are playing. Her birthday, August 10th. Saints play on Sunday, August 10th. Turning 14. Hard to believe, man. And for those of you who are young and you might have some young children or you haven't had kids yet, man, you want to talk about going by fast. It definitely goes by fast. So anyway, happy birthday to my daughter Ella. That's coming up. We'll say it again later on. Just real briefly, interesting about her birthday being right now as the preseason's getting started. When she was born in 2011, I still get grief to this day because she was born on a Wednesday, August 10th, 2011. Okay. The Saints were playing that first preseason game that year on Friday. And Friday morning, we had to make a decision. Should we leave the hospital today? Meaning my wife. Was my wife ready to go home? Or should we wait one more day? And my wife says, what do I think? And I swear it had nothing to do with the Saints playing their preseason opener that evening, and I wanted to watch it at home. That's what she tells everybody. And then we got home, and everything was a mess, and she wasn't, to this day. And I remember it, Saints opened up that preseason with the San Francisco 49ers. They won the game, but it was preseason. Who cares? That was the 13-3 season, 2011. Some people say that was the best Saints team ever, 2011. What do you think? I know that they won the Super Bowl in the 2009 season, but 2011, some people say that was the best Saints team. I'll never forget their first preseason game, I'll tell you. Anyway, a couple other little things real quick before we get to the comments. Yanks swept by the Marlins. No Aaron Judge. Yankees having their issues. Everybody's hating on Aaron Boone. It's a shame. Poor Yankees. And notes in the NFL. We talked about our NFL previews. We started this morning with the Buffalo Bills. This afternoon, the Dallas Cowboys. How about Micah Parsons wanting a trade? Same old script with Jerry Jones and the Cowboys. You know, he ended up relenting and he gave CeeDee Lamb what he wanted. Why is he going through this? Why are you pissing off Micah Parsons? I don't know that Micah Parsons, I'm sure if they give him what he wants, he will come back, but is he going to come back? I don't know. Where would he go? Hey, coming here. That would be interesting, though. Saints are, I saw the top 7 destinations for Micah Parsons. If they had the top 31 destinations for Micah Parsons, Would the Saints have made the list? We'll talk about that again on our doing all the previews as 3-minute shorts on YouTube and both on our TikTok page as well. All right. So check out our NFL previews. They're going to come out at every morning. AFC East this week, 8 a.m. And then the Cowboys will be receiving NFC East Monday through Thursday. That'll be in the afternoon. I'm going to try to get them out for 3, although I think the Cowboys one will probably come out a little bit later today. So it'll probably be more like 4 or 5 o'clock this afternoon. But we will get it out. And then tomorrow we will continue with our previews. I believe it is the Patriots? I believe it's the Patriots and the Giants are tomorrow. So that'll be interesting. And then lastly, before we get to the comments, I know you got a lot of comments in the comments. Oh, Lord, I didn't know it was that many. Marv Levy, former coach of the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs, took the Bills to the playoffs 4 straight times. They won 0, but God love them. I'm a fan of Marv Levy. 100 years old. Probably still could coach better than Dennis Allen. Did I say that out loud? I didn't mean to. I apologize. Anyway. All right. How we doing, UBN? How was the weekend? It's pretty good. It's busy. It was a very busy weekend. Good morning, Rob. Welcome again. Charles is here. Of course he is. Good morning, Dattitude family. Another nice weekend. Put another 150 miles on Raven, a.k.a. your Harley. Woo. Okay. I put about the same on my my Toyota Tundra this weekend. Maybe more. Kyle Sherman, good morning. Dattitudinals are all here. Chad Gage, hello to everyone. Shough was 0 for 6. If Shough was 0 for 6, 0 and 6, sorry. I'm having trouble this Monday morning. He says, I'll read it. I'll start over. If Shough was 0 and 6 like the Rat, would fans be screaming, yet some still think Rat is the answer? Things that make you go, We're going to get into that. Again, I think there are signs. In fact, I'm going to go to, let's change the slide because we're going to move right into this. I think there are signs that Tyler Shough, not just common sense and logic, but I think there are signs that are pointing to Shough as QB1. I'll tell you why in just a minute. I want to go through some more of the comments. Lance, who dat? Welcome, baby. Ryan Cavett, what's going on, Dattitude Nation? UBN wants to know, are we betting on the Little League World Series? The team from Canada looks strong. Hopefully they will win the Southwest region. They are going to play, I believe, the team from Texas in the Southwest Regional Final, I believe. I think that is going to be tomorrow, Tuesday. Not 100% sure. We'll see. Kyle Sherman says the surprise teams, we're going to get into the odds as well. Over-under win totals have changed. They've changed since last week. They've actually changed significantly on DraftKings since last week. They've basically dropped a full win total, a full win. You can't get a bargain on under 5.5 anymore. But Kyle Sherman says 7+ wins improvement throughout the year, and they won't embarrass. Even if they go 3-14, would they necessarily embarrass? Would you be embarrassed? They got to rebuild. Apathy says stinky quarterbacks or a defense that's better than we think. Or both. Gary says, good morning. B.A. Keen. I'm not sure what that do. I know Gabe, am I supposed to know what that means? He's going to type it in. He's going to help me out. Mark says, good morning. Who dat? Look out for your Padres, man. They sure did make some moves. That's for sure. Stutzman. Everybody's loving on Stutzman. All right. I am going to come back to, and Gabe's telling me how to pronounce. Oh, okay. Tell me how to pronounce his name. See, somebody's paying attention. Thank God Gabe is, because obviously, and it's Baleen. I don't know. I don't see, you didn't type anything in. Tell me to look. Anyway, I'm going to come back to this real quick. Hold on. Before we get to the rest of the show, let me tell you, before we start talking more about Tyler Shough, as I click that off for me. Live TV, boys and girls. Baleen. There we go. All right. Let me tell you about our friends at Evangeline Securities on live TV or live podcast, whatever you're listening to. What else can I screw up in this Monday morning? I can't screw this up because they're that damn good. Of course, Evangeline Securities is a company that can help you decide if it's the right time to sell your family-run or privately held business. And maybe more importantly, probably more importantly, they can tell you what that business is worth. That's you or someone you know, someone you love, someone you like, someone you just kind of know, but you want to help them. Then it's time for you, them, whoever, to reach out to Evangeline's founding and managing partners, Nick Braden and Ron Hemel. They will start by scheduling a complimentary evaluation from their offices on Poydras Street or in Lafayette if you so choose. From there, you be well informed to begin to make the decision on if you want to proceed. What happens after that? Well, you have to wait. We'll fill you in more later in the show. In the meantime, you can check them out at www.evangelinesecurities.com. I'm sorry, Gary. I don't know what is going on. I'm telling you, it is Monday morning. Baleen. Got it now. Charles says Dattitude for the rest of your life. You're jumping ahead of us, Charles. The rest of your life. We haven't got there yet. Chad Gage says we'll be roasting chestnuts on the concrete for Christmas. The heat never goes away. That's not true, man. That's not true. It'll go away eventually. Just might take a while. I don't mind the heat as much. I just don't, man, I can live with 89, 90, 91. What we had this past 3-4 weeks. That's why it was such a relief this weekend. Ron Hendrickson says, don't know what to see from Moore and Staley on Sunday as far as the offense and defense. Traditionally, coaches play close to the vest in these games, not wanting to tip their hand. I don't know what you're going to see. You're going to see a lot of all three quarterbacks probably. You're going to see a lot, I think, more than maybe you would expect to see of your rookie left tackle. Will he play a whole half? We'll see. You're going to see Trevor Penning probably play a whole half at left guard. You'll probably see that. But did you see that the Saints had sort of a scrimmage-like day yesterday? They had fun with it. What did they do in that scrimmage? They took a long look at their quarterbacks, but they did something differently yesterday that they haven't really done, okay? And this is my number one sign that, and again, it's early. Does it really mean anything in the grand scheme? No, because I want to go through some comments. There are people in the media. I'm not going to mention any names when I talk about these people. If you're listening and I say something that you said, then you know I'm talking about you. Otherwise, that's it. But I just find I'd say it's almost overwhelming now that people are falling into a trap that they think that Spencer Rattler is starting. But I don't know if they're necessarily falling into the trap more than if you go through comments, and I like to go scroll through them, and at some point I have to stop reading them because they make me feel dumb. But when I'm reading through this, I think that there is I'd say it's probably, of the comments that I've seen, I'd say 60% want Rattler to start. I'd say about 25% want Shough to start. No one really wants Haener to start, and the rest of them are kind of like just making comments to be wise asses. So I don't know what people really want. I mean, I really think that the majority of the public want Spencer Rattler to start. We saw something yesterday we haven't seen, and what is it? You keep saying that, Derry. What is it? Well, if you go through Luke Johnson's story about the quarterbacks yesterday, and you go, again, I don't give a damn about the passing percentages. Rattler was incomplete on 10 of 26. Who cares? Shough was incomplete on 14 of 40. Haener was incomplete on only 7 of 26. But what I do care about is how many passes they threw, how many reps they got, and when they got them. Although Spencer Rattler, now they've been rotating. It's Shough one day with the ones. It's Haener one day with the ones. It's Rattler one day with the ones. He's trying not to tip his hand. Although yesterday, what did he do yesterday that it hadn't been done? A lot of, especially the Rattler fans will say, that doesn't mean anything. The Shough fans will say, I think it means something. And then the people who don't care will be like, we'll see. But for the first time, all camp, Whoever was before yesterday, whoever had been with the ones, that's who was with the ones all day. Whoever's with the twos, that's who's with the twos. But yesterday, although Rattler took most of the first team reps, according to Luke Johnson, the Saints rotated in Shough, took a couple series with the starters. I think they're trying to make him more comfortable in there. They also changed how he was throwing the ball. He's throwing a lot more shorter passes. We had that day last week. Remember when he threw a couple interceptions and he let himself go? That's kind of what we want to see. I think they're trying to ease him into this role. What are we going to see in preseason? Who's going to start the first preseason game? I think it's going to be Spencer Rattler who's going to start the first preseason game. And I think that some fans and some media will take that to mean something. I think it means more what you see in practice. Not the numbers, not the stats per se, but what we see, how it's run, who does what. So I think that's what we're going to be looking for as we go along, for sure. Gerard Simino, good morning. Back from your Georgia vacation. We're glad to have you. Apathy, we're going to talk more about Nick Saldiveri in a minute, man. He's more injured than the amount of Morris Bart commercials on Fox 8. That's the truth. Mark Satanovich with his, do you just copy and paste this, Mark? Or do you actually you type it in every time? The Rat Real Deal at QB1. It's a good thing. This is a perfect example of the rat lovers, okay? They're starting to give, some people are starting to give Shough the card treatment already. Haener may be QB2. Shough is down to QB3 on my big board. Okay, well, yeah. Gabe says he wants Haener to start. Oh, would that be a show? Can you imagine that show? They announce Haener as the starter. That would be interesting. Lance is with me. He knows what I'm talking about. He loves his kids every time he's in the kitchen. They in the kitchen. Get out of the kitchen. Get out of the house, as a matter of fact. Jason, I already know, man. So it begins. Big 1-4. I'm already ready. Look, I think she told me I ruined her life the first time when she turned 3. Something like that. Brian says he leans to Shough as well, mainly because Shough is the handpicked guy, right or wrong, and Rat is leftover fifth-round quarterback with talent, but not the handpicked guy. I mean, you've been listening to what I'm saying. So, again, logic is going – it's not just what I saw yesterday. I think, again, logic dictates. That's what we've been talking about in the show. Brian says exactly what I've been saying. Shough is the handpicked guy. I'll say what I said on – all the shows that I was on last week, and of course, here on our show. I said that the only way I think Spencer Rattler starts is one of two things. Either he is overwhelmingly better than Shough over the course of the next couple of weeks. And I mean, overwhelmingly, it's not close. Like, there's no choice to make. You have to pick Rattler because Shough's been that bad, and Rattler's been that good, which I doubt. I think it's going to be close enough to where there are going to be doubts. If there's any doubt whatsoever, Shough's the number one. Rattler has to win it on his own. Or the second option, and we've talked about this, if you're new to the show and you haven't heard me say this, if they don't want to go through that first 4-game stretch with Shough and have him go 0-4. I just don't think they're going to do that. You're going to pick your quarterback and you're going to go with him. Neil Adams says you need to find an exorcist. Well, we need to find an exorcist to get rid of the demons that is causing all these injuries on NOLA sports teams. How big a deal is Nick Saldiveri? We're going to get to it. We're going to get to Nick Saldiveri. Mark, I'm going to show this comment. I mean, we can't keep talking about the same thing. All the media pundits are saying Spencer Rattler is a front runner in training. It means nothing. It means that it's August the 4th. The first regular season game is more than a month away. Okay. Again, I have not changed my percentage on what I think is going to happen. I think it's 75% chance Shough starts game 1, 25% Rattler, and I think 0% Haener. I'm going to get to some of these comments, but they're kind of funny. They're all over the place to show you what people think out there. Let's see what else we got here going on as I scroll down. David, welcome. He's ready for some Saints football. Who dat? You're gonna get it on Sunday. Is it real football? It's preseason. I tell you, I am as excited about this preseason because I want to know not just the quarterback position. I want to know how much time these rookies are going to play. I am so excited to see how much these rookies are going to play, especially the linemen in the trenches. How much is Broughton going to play on defense? Everybody's fired up about Danny Stutzman. I'm fired up about Danny Stutzman too. I'm trying not to buy into the hype, but how can you not? Sean says, have I been hearing that Penix has been struggling with accuracy in Atlanta training camp? I have. But what are they going to do? Yes, I've heard it, but I don't think that's going to, does it matter that much right now on August 4th? We'll see. They haven't even played a preseason game yet either. Lewis Jacobson is here. Good morning. Who dat? Daryl Romero is also here. Awesome show. Best as long as they improve each game. That's what really matters. We have the right coach to do that. I agree. That's what it's about. Mark misses Derek Carr. No, you don't. You do not miss Derek Carr. Earl's Picks is here. Says he wouldn't mind the Rat starting the first 4 games. See what happens if he's not doing anything. Put Shough in. That way we know either he's the guy and because we need to know by the end of the season. 100%. That's another reason why I think it's super unlikely. How do I put this? It's super unlikely. We had Zach Ewing on Friday. Y'all need to go back and watch the show because it's a really good show. Even if you don't want to hear about the Superdome stuff, we spent a lot of time talking about Saints. And by the way, Zach Ewing is our Saints editor, NOLA.com/Saints. You can go check him out, all of our insiders. But one thing Zach said I think really rings true because he's kind of on the fence. He's not as sure as I am that Chuck's going to be the starter. However, one thing he said that I'm 98% sure that's true. If you had to pick, all right, first of all, I think the chances of one, and forget about injury. It's not just because of the injuries. The chances of either one of these guys starting 17 games is slim to none. Okay. That's just how it is. Okay. But if someone told you the football gods came down and said, one of these guys will start 17 games, well, you'll be shocked. It's going to happen. Which one will it be? Chances are overwhelmingly. I would change my opinion to 98% Shough. Rattler's not going to start 17 games. Shuck's probably not going to start 17 games. But if one of them would be, it's going to be Shough. Why? Again, because you don't want to be in this same position next year. Okay. You're not going to. Spencer Rattler is not your quarterback of the future. I'm sorry. 5th round draft pick by Dennis Allen. Saints aren't smarter than a 5th grader. It's not happening. Spencer Rattler is not your quarterback for the future. I don't necessarily think Shough is either. But if you drafted him with the 40th pick, you got to find out. You got to know if you're going to be in this boat again next year. You can't afford to be in this boat again next year. And if you are, you can't wait. You can't be stubborn. If they go through this season and if they don't get better week to week and the quarterback situation doesn't get better, or whoever the quarterback's going to be doesn't get better, that's when you're in the land of miserable, okay? You can deal with if whoever the quarterback is getting better and the team is getting better and the record stinks, so be it. But what you can't deal with and you can't live with is going through and watching this crap and talking about whoever it was that says embarrassment. That's the only way I think you're embarrassed is if you don't get better from week to week. If you're ending the season with less hope than you have now, then that's where it gets bad. Tedders is here. Good morning. Let's see. Lewis says, hope it really is a competition. I just don't think it is. Good O-line, run the ball. Great D, should win 6 or 7. Please, no injuries. Look, again, math, simple math. Which one of those first 4 games they win? And I didn't put I did not do a slide today with the first 4 games of the year. But I can tell you right now, they are 5.5-point underdogs at home against the Arizona Cardinals. They are 7-point underdogs at home against San Francisco the following week. They're 6.5-point underdogs at Seattle in week 3, and they are 12.5-point underdogs at Buffalo in week 4. Which one of those games are they going to win? I think none. So if you start 0-4, all right, we'll talk about 1-3 in a minute because I think 1-3 is the ceiling. But realistically, if you start 0-4, you got the Giants and Patriots coming in after that. Would you win one of those two? Yeah, I think you can. They'll be underdogs in both of those games. They already are. They already are under. And look, we're just trying to be realistic. I'm not trying to bring you down. I'm trying to be a realist right here as far as record-wise goes. This is why it's way more important for you, the team to get better and for you to be hopeful when the season's over than what the record is. Okay? Some of you who want the Saints to lose and get the top draft pick or a top 3 or 4 draft pick next year, I think there's a good chance you're going to get your wish. Again, let's say you start 0-4. And I'm trying to be realistic. How many games do you have to have that? 13. You got 13 games after that. Or if you think the Saints are going to win 6 or 7 games, if you think they're going to win 7, you think they're going to go 7-6 down the stretch? You think they're going to go 6-7 down the stretch if they start 0-4? What if they start 1-3, which again is the ceiling? You think they're going to go 5-8 down the stretch or 6-7 down the stretch? 4 of their first 6 games are at home. What is just as hard as that first 4-game stretch? They have a stretch of the rest of the year after October 12th, where they only play 4 home games the rest of the year. 4 home games the rest of the year. That's why, again, we're going to get to over-under win total and why the people with money, they're starting to take unders, and they're not giving me any value. Lance says Shough is looking like a rookie. Game speed is affecting him. We're not even 2 weeks into camp. Everything I read, including by the people who write, who are obviously rooting for the rat, are all saying that Shough is improving as camp's going along, which is all you want. We're 2 weeks into his first NFL camp. Not even. Not sure he has time to overcome that before the season starts. None of these quarterbacks are good. You say you're not sure Rat is much better so that he gets the nod. That's the point. It's not like there's some veteran in the room, okay? It's not like you can – the Saints don't have the luxury that some other teams have had. I mean, if you think about what the Patriots had last year, okay, and easing Drake May into the starting role, the difference is, Jacoby Brissett isn't a world beater. But he was a solid veteran that came in and started the season for the Patriots to let Drake May see what the hell was going on. Saints don't have that. They have 0 wins in their quarterback room. They don't have that. They don't have the luxury of being able to ease someone in. They just don't. And that's why another sign. Kyle Sherman. Rat is Jekyll and Hyde. Needs to be consistently good or he's the QB2. And look, I saw a couple of comments, and again, I got some over here. And man, rat lovers hate. They hate when you talk about, I've seen enough from last year, because I've said that multiple times. But I saw a couple other people saying that on social media the last couple of days, and they call them clowns. Oh, you've seen enough. It's not just who Spencer Rattler was throwing to. It's how he was throwing. He's using his hot read game after game. That's why he would start off hot. He'd have a great first half. If you look at the 6 games he started, almost all 6 of those, he had a pretty good first half on all those. I mean, I could break him down game by game and tell you what his rating was, but I could tell you this. His rating dropped in half. And over the course of the 6 games that he started, his first half rating to his second half rating cut in half. Why? Because teams adjusted. He could no longer go to his hot read, which is what he did about 85 to 90% of the time. Can't do that. Teams made adjustments. Well, people say you can improve on that. See, that's why I have a problem, because I don't know that you can improve on that. Nothing in his college career tells me that he is. There's a reason why he was picked in the 5th round, okay? There's a reason why so many teams passed on him. Again, And comparing apples to oranges, you want to talk about even against even. You want to talk about Shough against Rattler. Shough, 40th pick of the draft by this current coach. Rattler, the what? I don't know. What was I don't even know what the number is. 30 times 5, 160. What was it? The 160th, 170th pick of the draft by Dennis Allen. Completely different. Mitch Bergeron says, Shough is a rookie quarterback and he will make mistakes. I accept that fact. My only concern at the moment is every time I see a picture of him, he looks like a deer in the headlights. That will pass, but will it pass before the season starts? That's the same problem I had with Rattler last year. Sure, he ran around and made some plays. He did some things that Derek Carr couldn't do last year. He made a couple throws that I was like, he did have some wow moments. No question about it. No question about Rattler had some wow moments last year. But he also had way more moments where he had that same exact thing, Mitch. Deer in the headlight look. That's what worries me more than anything. Jason Benson also says, you don't want to kill the kid's confidence out of the gate by throwing him into the fire. Let Rattler stink up the joint for a few games and quiet his fans. Then put Shough in to get his feet wet and develop. What do I know? I mean, that's what I say. What do I know? We're all speculating here. That's why you can't get mad at anyone's projection or prediction. It's what I find more amusing than anything when I'm reading through social media is when people get angry at what you're thinking. If you go out there and tell people what you're thinking and it goes against what someone else is thinking, they actually get angry. They get, especially those on the side of Spencer Rattler more than anything. They get angry. How can you possibly say such and such? It's all speculation. Until a coach comes out, until the coach, not a coach, until Kellen Moore comes out and says, this is who our starter is, we can't be 100% sure. But it's what we do. It's our job here. It's what we talk about, especially on Mano Monday. Who's going to win the job? Who's going to win the job? That's the question. Some other comments this morning. Let's see. We're going to get to Saldiveri, Lance. I promise you. Tedder says, any rational adult should agree with me. Rattler really has to stand above and beyond Shough to get the job. Hainer only starts so reality can hit him in the face and everyone realizes he is purdy. You know, that Gabe's joking about this, but what would happen? I mean, I'd say 0%. I mean, stranger things have happened before. I mean, I think Gabe and I both thought that Hainer would be cut, that they would bring in a veteran after we found out about Carr, that they would bring in a veteran. If they would have brought in a veteran, Hainer would have been the first one to be cut, but he still keeps getting first-team reps. How much is he going to play on Sunday? Does it matter? I don't know. Lance says, is it just him or is Moore really in tune with the fans trying to build support? Do I think that plays a part in his quarterback decision? Agreeing with what UBN said about mistakes being nitpicked. I think somewhat he's in tune with the fans. I think he knows it's important to have the fans behind him. That's why I don't think it matters in the grand scheme of things who he picks, because the fans are going to be behind him because he's new and he's not Dennis Allen. That's why I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters to him what the fans want, because he knows that they're going to be behind him anyway in the grand scheme of things. And I'll say the same thing. I say, if Rattler gets the job and the Saints start 1-3 or 0-4, like I think whoever starts, they're going to start. I don't think that matters who the quarterback is. I don't think I just don't think Shough's that much better than Rattler, if he's better at all. But I think they need to find out, because you need to know what you have. Regardless, this is the 32nd ranked quarterback room in the NFL, hands down, bar none. That leads me into one social comment media tweet. It was a tweet that I saw, and some of you may have seen it because it got a crap ton of views by someone that is very well known by Saints fans, is a social media person. Again, I'm not mentioning any names today, but you'll know what I'm talking about if you've seen this. It's a quote. I don't think he's stirring a pot. I think he really means this when he asked this question. I think he really believes this is a possibility. Quote, what if the Saints quarterbacks are all actually good and we simply have the greatest defense of all time in the making? My answer would be, what if they came out with a new form of crack that didn't hurt you and you could smoke it whenever you wanted to and it wouldn't have any long-lasting effects? That's my response to that. This is the number 32 ranked quarterback room in the NFL, and number 31 isn't close. But to go back to Lance Dobard's question, I just don't see how what the fans want matters. I don't even think what the players want matters. I just don't. And I don't even know if anybody knows what the players want. Do the players want anything? I've heard so many people say the players want Rattler. How do we know that? How do we know that? Brian says his thoughts exactly. What drugs? New Orleans JJ. He thought it was funny. Lance thought it was funny. I'm not even trying to be funny. I mean, I'm being like, people are believing this is someone people, and I actually respect this guy. David Noah says, what if Santa was real? Wait a minute. What are you talking about? Santa's? What are you talking about? Santa is real. Big Sean! Big Sean's back. If Carr was in our quarterback room, we'd still be number 32. Big Sean, where you been? Welcome back, baby. I knew you couldn't resist. I knew you'd come back. We missed you, man. UBN says, you want to know how much preseason does not matter? The Saints are favored Sunday against some Los Angeles Chargers. Yeah. Call the number. If you're betting on preseason games, call the number. Rob says, oh, yeah, I didn't even mention this, but the Superdome pullout section that Zach talked about on Friday is also next week's Gambit. Go out there, get it. 50 years of the Dome. Happy birthday, Dome. Bruce says, I'm hating on Rattler. They don't like it. I'm telling you, it's what I said before. If you say anything, if the Rattler lovers, if you say anything negative, they hate on you. You can't have a discussion. They just hate on you. No. They just hate on you. Kevin says he agrees with me 1,000%. Michael Morgan says he looks at the Saints as a rebuilding team the next 2 years. Want to see good habits built and young talent developing. Amen. I agree. 100%. William says after only 10. Now here's one the other way. I don't know if the light's coming on. William says after only 10 practices, it appears the light has come on for Tyler. The Saints need to give Tyler all the first team reps going forward to facilitate his growth. I disagree. I'll take Rattler and Hayner's side on this one. I don't have any problem until he comes out and say, and we've had this discussion before, and I'm going to say it again. I think that around the Jacksonville game, either right before, probably more likely right after. I think right after the Jacksonville game, when you only have one preseason game left, I think that's when you make the decision. Okay, that is, 2 weeks from now? You go through 2 more weeks. I think it is important, and I don't care who it is. Whoever the quarterback is, I think it's important to make the decision early. You make the decision early. That way you got 2 weeks or whatever it would be. See, if you made the decision 18th, 20th, or whatever it is, yeah, you'd have a little over 2 weeks to go through and prepare whoever that number one quarterback is to be mentally prepared and ready. This isn't like Dennis Allen, who kept everything secret. He didn't want to tell anybody who his number 2 quarterback was. Remember that last year? It was a secret. And then he still didn't tell people as they went into the season. Spencer Rattler would be the number 3 quarterback. Jake Haener was the backup. But then when it came down to it and Carr got hurt, obviously, like most people thought, Rattler was ahead of Haener, and he ended up becoming the starter when Carr got hurt, which made sense. Complete sense. But I don't think you can wait. I think you need to announce a number one quarterback so no one has to guess. You have a competition. What is an extra week or two of competition going to get you besides just confusion? No, I think whoever number one is needs to prepare themselves mentally, and so do the other guys. They need to be ready for this. I think it's important. And I think Kellen Moore will do that. I really believe that. I'm going to predict it. I'm going to say the Jacksonville game is on August 17th. I'm going to predict on August 20th, or right thereabouts, August 20th, we will know who the number one quarterback is going to be. That's my prediction. We'll see if I'm right or not. Oscar Jordan says he thinks Rattler will surprise. He could. I'm not writing him off. And again, even if Shough starts, in the grand scheme of things, does it really matter who the starter is? Nobody's starting 17 games. I'm not just talking about potential injuries going forward. Forget injuries. If all three of these quarterbacks stay healthy all year long, big if. I think there's almost zero chance that Shough starts 17, almost zero chance that Rattler starts 17. So you think Rattler will surprise? He could. He could. Lance says that Rat seems to improve a bit. He's working through progress. You can't tell anything from there is no contact in practice. It's why numbers don't mean anything. And I thought it was funny that either Luke or Matt, I can't remember which one, said that side note, forget about if our numbers don't match with other reporters because we don't know when a play ends. Yeah, if you don't know when a play ends, how can you take numbers realistically? You don't know when a play ends because there's really no contact. Now, that's going to ramp up and going to change a little bit. How are you going to find out? That's why we want to see preseason. It will matter in preseason when they're coming at them, even though you're probably not going to see a whole lot of blitz schemes. And I don't think you're going to see, anyone get sacked 3 or 4 times. We'll see. Cecil Evans, good morning. Love Jeff Duncan and his work, but his, quote, worst drive ever tweet regarding Shough was harsh and got traction nationally. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's a columnist and he shares his, the way I look at this show is basically this is one long sports column, right? I don't have a problem with it. I understand where you're coming from. But there's an instance of someone probably, if you say something that goes against the guy they're rooting for, they're going to hate on you, man. You can't have a conversation about it. They're just going to hate on you. You're a clown. If you don't see what they see, you're a clown. Oscar says, Rattler's O-line at South Carolina was also horrible. Could be. We got to stop making excuses for people, though. At what point do you stop? What would be good enough to stop making excuses? And I'm not just talking about Rattler, for anybody. Number 32 quarterback room in the NFL for a reason. If Taysom was still listed as the quarterback, Sean wants to know, where would I rank him among the current quarterbacks on the roster? Right now, I'd rank him 4th because he's injured and he's not going to be playing and probably going to start, almost certainly going to start on the PUP list. And he's not a quarterback. So the answer is 4th. The days of Taysom Hill being a quarterback are over. The days of Taysom Hill as an NFL player could potentially be over. I don't think he's played his last NFL game, but I don't think he has many left in him. Let's forget. I keep saying that too. Not happening. I don't want any part of Taysom Hill as quarterback. I'd rather see Spencer Rattler and Shough do their thing. UBN says he heard Rattler's O-line and receivers in high school were bad too. What did Spencer Rattler and I have in common? I've asked this question before. Do you remember? We were both on the same Netflix show. series. QB1. The only difference is Spencer Rattler was featured, and you never saw my face. I was in 6 of the 10 episodes that season. You can go back and find. I can't even find them anymore. I have some of them on my computer, but I actually was the Lance Lejeune. If you remember him, he was a Warren Easton quarterback. Then went on to play at Maryland, and then ooh la la. But anyway, Lance Lejeune was one of the 3 quarterbacks featured with Spencer Rattler, and all the play-by-play done from the games from Lance Lejeune was me, done with my voice. So that's what Spencer Rattler and I have in common. All right, we're gonna switch gears in just a minute because I do want to talk about Nick Saldiveri in just a minute. I do want to talk about the odds. We're already at 51 minutes, and I got to bring my friend Gabe in. Jules wants to know, how is the offensive line coming? So far, so pretty good. That's important regardless of whomever is starting a quarterback. Amen. Jules, I couldn't agree with you more. That's what I want to build in the trenches. You got to build in the trenches. 100%. Saldiveri's bad. That's a bad loss. It hurts. No question. I just think Big Sean is back. It's just making me laugh. Big Sean says he's in the mindset of may the best quarterback win. Yeah, I don't know. He also says, as of right now, 11:50 a.m. on August the 4th, he'd say Rattler's the starter, but again, in the end, may the best quarterback win. And here's why I don't this is why I think that Shough should be the starting quarterback. It's not only that I think signs are pointing to Shough being the starting quarterback. I think Shough should at least start the season at quarterback because you need to give him majority of the reps, as many as possible. Saints need to know if they're going to be in this boat again next year. And they need to know as soon as possible. Gundam is back in the rat. He said he went 0-6. And he actually went 0-6, to be fair to Spencer Rattler. He went 0-6, not 0-7. Hainer went 0-1. So he went 0-6. In fact, and I'll show this comment again in a second. In fact, to give Spencer Rattler some credit, the other game that the Saints lost that he played in, Hainer started, was terrible. It was the Washington game. Spencer Rattler came in the second half against the Commanders and nearly led the Saints back. That was, to me, the best. That was definitely the best second half he ever played, but they didn't see him in the first half. However, he was very good in that second half of that game. The Saints almost came back and won that game. But anyway, Gundam says 0-7 with third stringers offense. I don't care. It's about how he would. Nobody had any excuses when he played great first halves. Oh, he was great. Spencer Rattler was great in those first halves. I think his rating was somewhere around 98 or something like that. It was 46 in the second half. So don't tell me that who he had with him, because you didn't have a problem. Oh, he was great when he was starting the first half. In the second half, it was because his offensive line sucked. Give me a break. You can't say he was good because he's great, and then when he stinks, it's someone else's fault. That's what I have a problem with. It's like what William says, cue all the Rattler excuses. The Rat lovers have more excuses with them when he's bad than I've never seen anything like it. And when I say I've never seen, I really have never seen anything like it. I'm not exaggerating. Michael, you are right. Really, except it's really 0-6 first year. But fifth round quarterbacks don't get a lot of chances. Most of them don't get any chances. Again, what makes sense? Your second round pick, 40th pick of the draft, picked by the current coach, or the fifth round pick from the year before with the former coach that everyone hates and knows was inept. I mean, come on. Ryan Ashe says, Saints defense will be sneaky good, he thinks. Our quarterback room is worse than 3 college quarterback rooms. I don't know about that part of it, but it's not good. It's really bad. Again, they're 32nd in the league. 31's not close. But I don't disagree with you. I think the defense could be, I don't know about sneaky good, but I do think the defense will be better than last year. I think they'll be better than last. Now, how much would it take? I don't know. Let's see. Saint for Life. I haven't heard from you today. Good morning. Excuse me. And it's almost good afternoon, but it's good morning still for a few more minutes. People are doing an evaluation on Shough when there hasn't been one preseason game yet. Come on, people. Stop the nonsense. Another thing that I've never really seen. I've never seen so much judgment, I guess, through 12 days of training camp in a guy's career. Why? Exactly, New Orleans, JJ. You want to see Shough and Rattler in a game first. Maybe I'll change my mind. Maybe Sunday. I really think Rattler's going to start the first preseason game. I don't know when we'll find out. I just think that it's going to be kind of I don't know. I think that's what's going to happen. I think Spencer Rattler's going to start preseason game 1. I hope he balls out. I hope he plays fantastically. I root for all these guys to play well. I hope they all have a great preseason. Make it tough. If it's actually an open competition, which I don't think it is, but if it is and I'm wrong, make it tough. Make it tough as hell. Have a great preseason. Don't make it tough because you all stink. Make it tough because you're all good. That's what we want to see. Silver Gator says we're being kind when we say it's a rebuilding year. He says it's not a rebuilding year. It's a year of demolition. Gundam says Shough is a talented kid, but he's terrified of a blitz getting in his face. How do you know? How the hell could you possibly? There's no contact. He can't be terrified of a blitz. He's not getting hit. How do you know? How do you know that? You don't know that. And I'll go back to whoever said deer in a headlight earlier. That's exactly, to me, what Spencer Rattler looked like in 6 of his 7 second halves. Deer in the headlight. Somebody's, I'm not even showing that one. It doesn't matter who's, that's all. It doesn't matter who one of the media people said that Rattler's in the lead. I'm going to go with him. You go with him. It's all speculation. They want you to watch them. Remember earlier when I told you that the majority of people that I read are rooting for Rattler to win the job? Well, if you're trying to get as many views as possible, I'm not saying this is or isn't the case. But if you were trying to get as many views as possible, because there are multiple people out there saying Rattler's winning this thing. You think they really believe it? Do you think they really believe it? Do you think they really want that? Or do you think they're just trying to get as many views as possible because that's what people want to hear? Or is it a combination of the 3 things? You're smart. You figure it out. Right? UBN. If you had a fantasy, that's a great question. If your fantasy draft was today, some people have already had their fantasy draft. If your fantasy draft was today, would you draft Spencer Rattler? You Spencer Rattler lover. Would you draft Spencer Rattler? Would you put your money, would you put your fantasy teams where your mouth is? Would you bet on him? I don't know. Tetters. I'm sorry, but who's afraid of Arizona? If they can't beat, we're not going to say that. You mean who's afraid of Arizona in the opener? I mean, anyone betting should be afraid of the Saints. Betting on the Saints, because no one's betting on them. They're 5.5-point underdogs. What else we got? I'm going through here. All right, because I want to get to Jay Tucker Rafferty. Sorry. All the reports you have seen and read as Rattler is more consistent at this time. Means nothing. Means 0. 0.0. Again, they're not getting hit. It's 12 days. Shough has been through 12 days of camp. Y'all are believing that this is an open competition. This is not an open competition. David +1 hash says the only way you draft Rattler in a fantasy is a 2-quarterback league, and that's still a risk. I mean, I wouldn't draft him in a 2-quarterback league. I wouldn't draft him in any league. Sean Adams says to add, he says even preseason means nothing. You've seen plenty of guys ball out in the preseason and bomb in a regular season. Yes, there are some signs of Shough. Lots of throws on the back foot. Needs to stop it. And I don't disagree with that. My friend Todd Whittington's here. 0.0. We haven't said that in a while, Gabe. We haven't used the old 0. Well, you have. You have when you said the chances of the Saints winning 10 games. 0.0. There you go. All right. I want to get to Nick Saldiveri in just a minute. In fact, I'm going to change the slide. So let's we can come back. We can finish the show talking about Shough, but we are getting a little long here. We're getting along, and I want to talk to Gabe because I am going to get Gabe's opinion on this, but I'm going to come back to Nick Saldiveri being out for the season in just a minute. First, we told you earlier we're letting you know more about how Evangeline Securities can help you figure out what your family run or privately held business might be worth and whether it's time to sell. How do they do it? Well, I mean, that's the best question we've had all day. How do they do it? Thank you so much for asking. After their complimentary valuation of your company, if you decide to proceed, native New Orleanians Nick, Braden, Ron Hemelt, and the folks at Evangeline, well, they'll begin an extensive auction process from established private equity funds from around the world. They'll maximize the return for the founder and his or her family. Evangeline Securities, the top producer on their platform. There are very few companies like them in this area, and none, and I mean none. Go ahead, find someone. None with their dedication and success. They are fully licensed. They're ready to serve you. So get in touch with Nick and Ron about what is really important, and it ain't this dumbass quarterback race. What is important, Gabe Hennison? That's the life. You can find them at www.evangelinesecurities.com. Nick Saldiveri. I'm going to read from Matt Parris's story here. NOLA.com/Saints. He says, quote, the depth along the New Orleans Saints offensive line has taken a hit. Guard Nick Saldiveri suffered a knee injury in a recent practice and was placed on season-ending injured reserve, Coach Kellen Moore said Saturday. Moore said Saldiveri, who was a 2023 fourth-round pick, got hurt in Thursday's practice. The Saints have signed veteran Shane Lemieux. You remember him, former Saint. Worked at guard in Saturday's practice, which is where Saldiveri would have been backing up. And he worked there instead of center, which is the position he played most of last year. Going on with Matt's story, again, NOLA.com/Saints. You can check him out. Saldiveri's injury is another unfortunate turn in the 24-year-old's career. The Old Dominion product dealt with a calf and shoulder injury as a rookie, and again, hurt his calf in training camp last year. Season was also cut short with the knee injury. He's only played in 15 to 34 games since entering the NFL. Because Saldiveri was placed on injured reserve, he is not, before the start of the season, he is not eligible to return this year. So he is certainly gone for the season. I mean, it's a shame. It's a shame, but I mean, how much was Nick Saldiveri going to realistically play? By the way, you see the note there. Please subscribe to the Dattitude YouTube channel and give us a like if you haven't already done so. We politely and affectionately ask you to please subscribe to the Dattitude YouTube channel if you haven't already. How much was he going to play? Where was he on the pecking order? I mean, he had really kind of fallen behind now that Trevor Penning was moving to guard. You also got Dylan Radins in. Will Clapp is in as the center/guard. I'm not sure where Nick Saldiveri fit in. Was he even going to make this team? I don't know. I think that he might have gotten cut. Is he ever going to get a chance again? You know, someone said earlier about Spencer Rattler that fifth-round quarterbacks don't get a ton of chances. What about fourth-round offensive linemen? How many chances do they get? I thought he struggled just about every time he got back in there. I don't know. Sean says if we have success this year, it would be because of an improved O-line and defense. I'm sorry, I couldn't read that. Oh, sorry. There, live TV, folks. Saldiveri has done virtually nothing with the Saints. No disrespect, but this isn't a large loss, as someone was saying. Sometimes I click a comment, and on my screen it disappears, but y'all can still see it. I don't know why it does that. So if I stop reading and then I got to click on and off of it again, that's why I'm doing that. But Saldiveri has done virtually nothing with the Saints. I agree. That's why I don't think he's necessarily going to get another chance. I think he's done. I mean, Brian says he should have never been drafted in the 4th. An undersized guard from Old Dominion. I kind of didn't get it either. David Hash says, I don't think Nick was going to play much, but I think it was more for the players' depth. The more players for depth, the better. I don't disagree with that at all. I mean, look, we've already talked about this O-line that this team has. We could talk about things that they don't have, but as far as O-line goes, I think this is the best and deepest O-line this team has had since Drew Brees left. Just saying. Charles says his comments have disappeared. Maybe. Can't show them all. Can't show them all, Charles. Can't show them all. Anyway. And Lance says, as we about to get to Gabe here, he agrees with Sean. O-line, run game, and a defense. What did Moore do last year in Philly? Not saying we're going to be Philly, but the blueprint is there. Of course he's going to follow that blueprint. That's another show. Maybe we'll talk about that on Wednesday. What running back is going to step up? We've kind of talked about it already. Are you reading, Sean? Are you reading into your phone, or did you actually type it in like that? Salsa Verde career is over. Salsa Verde. I like it. All right. It is Mondays. It is Monday. That means Gabe Henderson's here. Monday with Gabe. As we're going to talk about whatever comes into his mind, but I want to get your thoughts on again, as a neutral observer, and I know your opinion on this, but just sometimes why is it that if, you and I don't agree and we kind of go back and forth at each other and have fun with it, but why do people actually take things personally? It seems like they actually take things personally when you start talking about something. If you don't agree with them, they sometimes take it personally. You're a clown. You're a jackass. We don't like you. You're a moron. Why does that happen?
For multiple reasons. I think it happens when people disagree, like you said, or when they're actually having a civilized debate and they're getting hit with facts that they just can't counter.
Facts.
And so they have
we hate facts.
They have nothing to counter with.
Yeah. Anyway, what is your perception? And I kind of know already, but we'll just talk about it here because I don't want to spend every single show until the season starts talking about the quarterback. I've said this already, but it's what the people want to talk about right now. So that is what we're talking about, and is the main topic of this show. Do you agree with me that there are signs that it could be handled, or do you think it's completely 50-50?
I think you mean signs that it could be Shough.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
Okay. If you want my personal opinion, I think Rattler starts
absolutely.
the season.
You think Rattlers? Why do you
Rattler
think
starts
that?
the season?
Why
because
do you think
I look at the tough stretch that they have to open the season. Look at how much Shough has struggled in practice. I don't know if these short few weeks are going to be enough to get him ready and up to speed for those games. And I know when dealing with a rookie quarterback, they're not always ready mentally to step into that arena. I just wonder if Kellen Moore is going to protect him and see what he's got with a fully healthy team with Spencer Rattler.
I mean, that makes sense. That kind of leans to a big part of the 25. So you're basically saying it doesn't really matter who's better. You think they're going to go with the Rattler because it's better for psyche. You don't want to ruin Shough. And meanwhile, if Rattler gets his chance, who knows? Maybe he balls out. Who knows?
I think Shough will end the season as the team's quarterback. I just believe it'll be Rattler early. And to kind of go against what that media member said, the comment you read, I think there's a better chance, and I don't think anyone would dispute this, that all 3 quarterbacks suck, and the Saints are here drafting another quarterback next year.
I think that's more likely than not, unfortunately.
100%.
I mean, I just haven't said that because it's really not the topic of conversation. And I certainly think we can cut this clip out. I'll play it back later if I'm right or wrong. I mean, I completely believe that. I don't think any of these 3 quarterbacks are the future of this team. Hope I'm wrong. And that they're going to be in the same boat. Lance is getting hungry. Salsa Verde. And UBN wants to know who has salsa. Lance is also want to know what's going on. I'm glad you're here. Sean says so he doesn't want any salsa Verde. Chad Gage, weak mentality. I mean, look, I don't think it's weak mentality. Look, these are all young quarterbacks. I mean,
no. He's talking weak mentality when people are called clowns and jackasses.
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah, I just don't get that whole thing. It really kind of bothers me. Tedder says he's trying to figure out. This is a good question. I don't get this either. Trying to figure, is it because Rattler was this very well-known figure? Not exactly the same, but sort of like Shedeur Sanders, known, the intrigue there, and there's still a lot of intrigue because you really haven't seen a ton of Rattler. Is that why people love Spencer Rattler? You think because of the intrigue and because of all the hype he got starting in high school?
I think the hype he got starting in high school is exactly why people love him. Because people see a quarter. There's no quarterback on this roster who is highly rated, other than Spencer Rattler. Spencer Rattler was the number 1 pick coming into college, and I think people have taken it. They're trying to grasp it and hope that something is still there. Because
that makes sense.
And I cannot stress how many are highly rated coming out of high school and just flop. It happens all the time.
All the time. Michael says he agrees Rattler gets a lot of love for someone who hasn't even won an NFL game. And this very well could be it. Lance says, well, you got to be careful when you say we, because it's not everybody, but a lot of you. We hated Carr so
Jim
much.
Doesn't speak French.
We hated Carr so much drafting Rattler gave hope. I think that is a part of it too. I think there's so much contempt for Derek Carr that you bring in this guy with this intrigue and someone that people know because they know his name, because they watched the QB1 series or they heard about him from Netflix or whatever. Even if they never really saw him play in college, they were just that excited about having a Spencer Rattler in here because he was kind of the antithesis of Derek Carr.
Well, let me say this as well. That brought up a good point and something that I'd never really considered. When was the last time before last season? And last season, it really wasn't until Carr got hurt that this came up. When was the last time the Saints' starting job was up for grabs? It's been a long time.
Yeah, because even when Winston went into it, he at least had the job going in, and then they switched early, and also Winston got hurt. So really, it's been a long time, and I don't even know the answer to that. When's the last time the Saints' job has been up?
So it's just
got to go back to the 90s, maybe.
I think the love for Rattler comes from people getting excited with the unknown.
Yeah. No, I mean, UBN might be right. So many people want to say, see, I told you Rattler was better than Carr. They're never going to be able to say that, by the way.
Here's the thing. It's not only love for Rattler. I've seen people come out of the woodworks and start doing that for Shough as well. It's the excitement of the unknown.
He went to Drago's and he's eating locally. Yippee-ki-yay. Lance says,
credit to him. Doesn't fix his accuracy issues.
For the record, he didn't hate Carr until he quit on us. I'm not sure when he quit on anybody. He had an injury, and he did the Saints a huge, gigantic, monstrous favor by quitting, quote unquote.
Can I say this?
Chad, you're right. It had to be the Billy Joes. I agree. But anyway, go ahead.
Brian's comment brings up something that I absolutely despise. Saying that if they start him, he could be 0-10 after week 4. Wins are not a quarterback stat. Let me repeat that. Wins are not a quarterback stat.
Then they shouldn't be a pitcher stat.
No, they shouldn't be. I completely agree.
Yeah. Well, I don't. I don't agree with that. I don't know. I mean, I think your record kind of follows you around. I mean, whether you don't deserve all the credit for win, you don't deserve all the credit for a loss, whether it's credit or whatever you want to call it. But I don't have a problem with saying the team went X and X with you as the quarterback.
Let me ask you this. A few years ago in the AFC Championship game, Josh Allen left the field with 13 seconds. He never saw the field again. And he left the field with a lead. Sorry. Left the field with a lead with 13 seconds left. He never saw the field again. They lost.
You can pull up all kinds of examples.
Is not on him.
You can pull up all kinds. I don't care. You can pull.
If
he would have done one more thing, maybe it would have never came to that. You can pull up examples all the time of that. You can pull up examples of anything to prove a point. So I see why you think that. I don't have a problem with your opinion.
They're just not, wins are not quarterback stats.
Yeah,
I absolutely hate that. There are 22 people on a field, not including special teams. And while quarterback is the most important position, it
was 27 seconds.
No, I thought it was 13.
I think there was 13 seconds after Kansas City scored. I'm not 100% sure of that.
I don't think so.
Anyway. Sean says it is a quarterback-driven league. That's why.
100%. But
I mean, look, if the quarterbacks are making all the money in the grand scheme of things, they're not on the Saints, but in the grand scheme of things, the quarterback's making all the money. I think they got to take more of they deservedly get more of the credit when they win and deservedly get more of the blame. They shouldn't get all of the credit or all of the blame, but I think they certainly get more. And you can't say, what does he get? He was 0 and 3.64. I mean, you can't say it like that. So
like Rattler was not good in his 6 starts. That doesn't mean he deserves sole blame for all 6 losses.
No.
That's what I'm
100%. That's 100% true.
Lance brings this up, and here's why I disagree with you on this, Lance. I don't think that means Brady's not the GOAT.
Brady is not the GOAT, by the way. That's
yes, he is. No, Tom Brady in his career never played a game where the Patriots were out of playoff contention.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm. In his over 20-year career. So
Ryan says it is the hype from high school. He also has a big-time arm like my boy. He's not my boy. I love when they say that. God forbid. There's another thing. You defended Carr back in the day because Carr was the best quarterback on this roster. Hands down, it wasn't even close, but I'm not getting into that.
And here's the thing, Jim. If Derek Carr unretired and signed with the Saints today, he would still be the best quarterback on the roster.
Hands down, not even close. But now you're just trying to piss people off when you say that. Jason says, how many highly drafted quarterbacks on average look better than Shough through 12 practices, or how many they've had to this point? I don't know. Is anyone keeping a stat on that? There's no way to know the answer to that.
I don't think anyone should keep a stat.
I mean, I hate practice. Practice stats are a new thing because this generation of sports watchers has to have numbers on everything. Has to have numbers on everything.
Mm-hmm.
Chad Gage, you are 100% correct, sir. Joe Montana's the GOAT. It was a different game. 100%. That is the comment of the day.
100% disagree.
All right. What is your what do you before we let you go? I know you got something on. You got to have something good on your mind.
Respond. So Sean says New England didn't make the playoffs in his second year of life. Yeah, they not making the playoffs is different. He did not leave the field, or he didn't. Or no, he didn't play in a game where they were mathematically eliminated. So he could have played a game and they didn't make the playoffs, but going into the last game of every season that he started, they had a chance to make the playoffs.
That is absolutely a correct factual statement. That is
100% a fact. I believe I want to credit the right person. I believe that was the Dan Lebitard show that came up with that stat.
The coaches poll, breaking news. Hold on. Breaking news. The first college football coaches poll has been released. Number 1, the Texas Longhorns.
That's
number
crazy.
2.
That's crazy.
Number 2, the Ohio State Buckeyes. And number 3, they're playing each other on August 30th. I did not know. How did I not know that?
Have you not seen the schedule for that day?
I just haven't. No, I haven't.
Oh, it's a crazy good slate week 1.
That is insane.
Crazy good slate week 1.
Also, the rest of the poll here, while we're talking, I know because you like to talk about that stuff. The Longhorns got 28 of 67 first place votes from the coaches. Ohio State received 20. Penn State received 14. Penn State is number 3, I believe.
Yeah, makes sense.
Let's see. Georgia got 3. Number 6, Clemson got 2 first place votes.
Not surprised.
Yeah, so LSU is number 9. Clemson is number 6. Alabama is number 8. So we told you earlier, I told you last week, I think there's big value in LSU to win the SEC at plus 800. You can find them. And the reason why I say that is Alabama is the next one up from them. They're like plus 3 something. Anyway. So not saying they're going to win the SEC. I think if you're talking about value, they played this season out 8 times. It would shock me if LSU didn't win the SEC at least once. So anyway, some other numbers from the poll. Miami is number 10. Notre Dame is number 5. And I know I'm going on out of order. I'm actually just reading it here on ESPN because I just got it. The rest of the teams in the SEC. How about South Carolina, who comes to Baton Rouge this year? Number 12. See what happens when you have a veteran quarterback that can move around. LSU might have trouble with that game, I'm telling you. They had trouble with them last year. Number 15, Ole Miss. Number 17, Florida. Number 18, Tennessee. Number 21, Texas A&M. The Big Ten also had 6 teams. Besides the ones we mentioned. Number 12, Illinois. Number 14, Michigan. Number 19, Indiana. Then you got the Big 12 that has number 11, Arizona State, number 20, Kansas State, number 21, Iowa State, number 23, BYU without Jake Retzlaff, and number 24, Texas Tech. The only group of 5, non-group of 5 team to be ranked to start the season is Boise State at number 25. That will change because Tulane will get in there.
What are we? And I want to shout out Sean for one of his comments a little bit ago. While I don't agree with the first part of this, I agree with the second part. He said BS ranking. Can I just make it known that I despise preseason rankings?
Yeah, I know. They're almost as bad as practice numbers.
Handing out a top 25 preseason top 25 ranking is one of the dumbest things because we've never seen any of these teams play down a football. And yet these rankings dictate some rankings for the remainder of the season.
I don't disagree, and I can tell you that as someone who spent much of his career covering high school sports and being a part of member of who voted to see state rankings and all these things and preseason. They actually one year I finally got out of it when they changed bosses on me. One of the first things I did was, can we stop doing preseason all Metro? It's the dumbest thing ever. Preseason all America, preseason all state players,
so dumb.
Preseason. It is incredibly stupid and it's nothing but clickbait, and it really just aggravated me. And again, when we did preseason state rankings, I think the reason why we did it is so we had a baseline to start from. But I didn't like it. I agree with you. They're meaningless. They're dumb.
So let me tell you this, Charles. Charles says LSU should be ranked 5 through 7. If LSU goes out and beat Clemson week 1, they will be.
They'll be in the top 5.
That matters. That's the only thing that matters.
They'll be in the top 5.
Clemson week 1.
Yeah, they'll be in the top 5. Anything else before we go? Because we're gonna cut this show off in about 5 minutes. By the way, you got 5 minutes to get any more Saints comments, Shough, Rattler, whatever you want to say. You got about 5 minutes to get it in now.
Yeah,
I want to hold it till Wednesday.
I wanted to part by answering Chad's comment from earlier.
Okay.
Chad, and he asked for it, I believe, last Wednesday for the first time right before I got off, and so I didn't get a chance to address it. Said I'd do it Friday. I don't think he was here Friday, but he's doing it now. He's asking for an update on the music that I've been listening to.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna give out that quickly. I have listened to, by my count, 135 albums so far.
It's a lot of albums.
I have given out 5 out of 5s.
Okay.
The three new ones are Illmatic by Nas, What's the Story, Morning Glory by Oasis, and Home Video by Lucy Dacus. Those are the
Don't know any of those.
5 out of 5s. You've never heard Oasis? Really? Wonderwall?
Is that from the 80s? Okay. Oh,
No, it's
okay.
from the
Wonderwall.
90s.
I didn't realize that was Oasis. Though. That
yeah,
album
it's
is
a
that
horrible.
good?
It's a horrible representation of that album. I didn't have expectations. Like they're doing a tour right now, and it's massive of I believe Europe and North America. And I always thought, I'd heard Wonderwall, I'd heard Champagne Supernova, and I was like, I don't understand the love
Champagne
with these guys.
Supernova.
And I listened to the album. Those two songs are horrible representations of that album. I don't know how they're the ones that made
Champagne
the charts off that album. It's such a good album overall.
My friend Todd Whittington says try some Ozzy. You have any Ozzy or Black Sabbath on there?
Ozzy on there. Yeah, there's sure.
So for those of you who don't know, real quick, for those of you who don't know, because we've talked about it at like weird spurts, we talk about this, but Gabe is on a project with a friend of his to do 300 albums?
No.
How many is it? It's more than that? 500?
It's 1,000 in a year.
Oh my God. 1,000 in a year. You got
1,000 in a year.
To quote my friends at Styx, you got too much time on your hands. Gabe wants to Chad wants to know if can you email on the list. Are you going to publish this?
Chad,
are you guys going to publish this?
So I can send out the link to certain people to give them access.
Okay.
So I can definitely do that, Chad.
I mean, I think there are definitely people that are interested. I'm interested in it, but I just want to know. I don't know. I mean,
absolutely.
He's even listening to my old fogey music. I mean, so I'm impressed. I mean, you haven't got to Glenn Campbell.
Well, I was going to say, so here's other albums that I've really enjoyed recently, and I've rated
Carpenters. You haven't got to them yet, have you?
No, I haven't. Brothers in Arms by Dire Straits, Mama's Gun by Erykah Badu, Harvest by Neil Young, and OK Computer by Radiohead. Those are albums that I've listened to recently that I gave 4 or higher.
Okay.
I wasn't the only experience that I had with them before this was Creep. So I listened to the OK Computer album. Yeah, go ahead and I don't know how
you can they can email me, Jay Derry. JDerry@theadvocate.com. If you email me, JDerry@theadvocate.com, I'll make sure Gabe gets it and puts you on a list. Okay.
Yep, I can put
but we will talk to you Wednesday, my friend, and I'm sure who knows, maybe it'll come up again. Who knows?
Yeah.
See you then.
Cool.
All right, we are close to finishing up the show. Let's see. Rob, who is Wednesday's guest? I don't know yet. I really don't. I've been so wrapped up trying to get the format for the NFL previews out that I've kind of like usually by the weekend I try to get through, and I don't know, but we will have a guest on Wednesday. I don't know who it is, but we're gonna have a guest. Sean says zebra, bruh. Leonard Skinner. Some other ones. I don't even know how to pronounce that, Gabe. UBN's talking about something. I don't know. I'm sorry, but I'm a 70s, 80s kind of dude. I do listen to some music from today. Some of the music my kids listen to, I can live with. Some I can't. And I'm actually some of the stuff in the early 2010s, I actually think is good. But that's about my cutoff point. I'd say like 2012 is probably, I think, and I'm not going to generalize because I hate people that generalize. But I'm about to do it here. I think most of the crap that was made after like 2012 is just bad. Not all of it. Not all of it. Gabe said we had our Kendrick Lamar debates. You should go back and watch old shows about those. Anyway, I'm an old fart. It is what it is. Episode number 400 coming up on Friday. I don't know who the guest is on Wednesday, as I just said, but big episode 400. Jim Henderson. I am so looking forward to that show. I have no idea if he's going to be on for 10 minutes or an hour. And, I say these things like, I had Jim Moore on. I don't remember what episode Jim Moore was on. It's audio only. It's back when we we're doing an audio only podcast. And if you never listened to it, it's a great interview. You should go find it. Wherever you get your podcast, you can go find us on StreamYard, SoundCloud. It is worth listening to. the interview with Jim Moore. And it was one where I thought he was going to come on for 10 or 15 minutes. It was done right after it was announced Sam Mills was going to be in the Hall of Fame. And so I wanted to talk to him about that. But we ended up talking about all kinds of stuff. I got him to talk about diddly poo and playoffs and all of that stuff. And it was it lasted, I think it was like 45 or 50 minutes he was on. It's probably my favorite. That one and Dale Brown. Dale Brown was on this show. That was one of the first shows we did. I say one of the first. It's in the first 40 or 50 for sure. Dale Brown, another one. I thought he might give me 10 or 20 minutes of his time. He was on for over an hour. So Dale Brown and Jim Moore are my favorite shows that we've done. So I am so looking forward to Jim Henderson on show number 400. You don't have to subscribe to listen to it, but we would certainly would love if you have been with us more than once or twice. And you know what? Some of you might say, this guy's a numbnuts, but I just want to hear what he's going to have to say. Subscribe to the show. Dattitude on YouTube. You can find us. We are doing our NFL previews every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 4 weeks in a row. We're doing the East this week. We're doing the AFC in the morning. We're doing the NFC in the afternoon. We're going in alphabetical order. And then on Fridays, and this Friday included, even though Jim Henderson's going to be on, after Jim Henderson's is on, Gabe's going to come on and tell me whether he agrees with my picks or which ones he agrees with and which one he doesn't agree with. And then he won't even mention the ones he just doesn't give a rat's ass about. Either way, it'll be fun. So I got a feeling he'll be telling me how wrong I am. Brian says, the Morris show is fantastic. New folks need to go back and listen. Again, that's an audio only. That's before we were live on YouTube. That was well before, actually. That was 2022 that we did that show. You can go back and find it on the Dattitude podcast on SoundCloud, again, or wherever you get your podcast. You find us. Great show. Thank you, Charles. Let's see. Sean Adams says he accidentally sat in Coach Moore's car on airline after practice. He said that Coach Moore said, "Hey, kid, get your ass off my car." I could say it. Jim Moore, 90 years old. I got to try to have him on again. I think he would be open to it. He's a really good dude. I've always been a fan. Not because he changed what his franchise was, but I just always been a fan. All right, that is going to wrap it up for us on this Monday. Great debate. Look, I'm kind of surprised. I thought the Rattler lovers were just going to give me more grief than I got. Maybe they just don't watch the show anymore because they don't want to hear what I have to say. There are so many people who love Spencer Rattler who they just, when we start talking about quarterback, they don't want to be here. I get it, but I'd like to have I want you to be here. If you don't agree with me, I want you to be here as much as the people who do agree with me, because we want to have debate. That's what this show's about. It's what's different from the other shows. I mean, who shows as many comments over the course of one episode as we do? I don't even know. One of these days, I'm gonna have Gabe actually keep track of how many comments we show on a Mano Monday. We're gonna do that. Gabe, if you're up for it, maybe next Monday we'll do that. I got to think it's over 200, don't you? Think it's over 200? I don't know. Anyway, we'll figure it out. We're going to do that one Monday. Or I could go back and watch the show and figure it out. But that's what's different about us. And that's why we love you here, not just on Monday, but Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 11 a.m. Central Time live. We don't show as many comments on Wednesday and Friday, but we still show a bunch. So we'll have fun with it. I don't know who the guest is. We will welcome in. Who knows? We know that show number 400 is Friday with Jim Henderson. And again, go check out our NFL previews. Last reminder to subscribe to our Dattitude YouTube page, and I'll read it. It's on the teleprompter. That's what I'm reading. It's not really a teleprompter, but Reminder to subscribe to the Dattitude YouTube page. Click the little bell to receive notifications when we go on the air live. You can also find us wherever you get your podcasts. I just told you that, including Apple, Spotify, and many more. You can find a replay of the show, as always, on NOLA.com/sports if you don't want to go to any of those other dozen places. In other words, you can find me. It's easy to find me. We're friends. We're buds. You're part of the Dattitude family now. Whether it's one show or 398, you are part of the family. You can find me at bet.noah.com. You can find our Saints insiders on noah.com/ they say noah.com/Saints. I always use noah.com/sports/Saints. Whatever. You know how to find them. You can find Gabe Henderson at sportsbookreview.com. And you can find us again back here live on Wednesday. Can't wait to see you then. It's been another great show. We will see you on Wednesday. Take it easy, my friends.